Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the crochet pokeball tutorial. I am super excited to be bringing this tutorial to you guys and I hope that you enjoy. So before we get started, I just want to let you know you are going to need 4 colors in total of yarn. Obviously the red, black, the white, and then also a contrasting color that will make it easier for people to see what it is. I made that mistake with the blanket. You're also going to need the correct hook for this type of yarn that you're using. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver, and the correct hook for that is a 5.5 millimeter. You're going to need some scissors and a darning needle. Now, I like to work weave in all of my ends as I go. So at the end of that, I haven't even unattached it. This is all that I was left with, and that's because I was forgetting to do it. But if you're consistent with weaving in your ends, you won't have that issue, and then there'll be less for you to sew in at the end. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you in the next one. So you're going to need 3 colors for your Pokeball. I'm going to start with the one that I saw first. This is all Red Heart yarn, medium for worsted weight, all acrylic, and this is the color Cherry Red. This is the color Soft White. You could also use the brighter white color, it's up to you. And then some scrap yarn I have, which is still Red Heart, but it's in black. So if you know what a Pokeball looks like, you know that the middle is white, so we're going to be starting with our white color. And I'm going to be doing this the magic loop method, but you could also chain 4 and then work all of the double crochets into your very first chain or the very last chain from your hook. But I'm going to be doing the magic circle. So you can watch closely on how I do a magic circle, or you can chain 4. But this is just basically how I do it, and then chain 1, 2, 3. For an in-depth tutorial, I will link how I learned down below. Let me see if I can zoom in. There we go, zoomed in. And so once we get our magic ring or magic circle, magic loop, whatever going, your chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, so you need 11 more into your magic loops. So here's 1, here is 2, and I am crocheting over my tail so that I can cinch my circle tightly. And our final, well, that was 11, so it would have been 12, but let's just count to be sure. Your chain 3 counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then just pull your tail to cinch up that circle, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. So let's go ahead and do that. And if I didn't state before, I do apologize. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook. So now I like to do the cut and tie method. You could attach your yarn any way that you choose. So I'm going to chain 1, cut a fairly decent tail, and then now we are going to attach our black, and in this row we're going to be increasing to 24. So let's go ahead and we're going to grab our black and let's tie it on. wrong end. And then we're just going to attach it into the same place that we slip stitched into. If you look here, you can see the V. It's right about here. So if you want it to look cleaner, just look over to which is going to be my right and find that V, which will be right here. And then insert your hook. It'll be a little tight. And join the black. It's going to be tight. That's why sometimes I just like to go right into the middle of that chain 3. And then I just join using a slip stitch, chain 1, and into that same exact space that you joined your black into and that you just slip stitched into, you're going to make 2 single crochets. So here is 1, and you can work over your tails if you want to. And then add in that same stitch another single crochet. Now on to our next stitch. Your next stitch is here. 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. And in our next stitch, 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And make sure you're counting, because at the end you should have 24. So 2, 4, 6. Here is 7 and 8. And then right here in our last stitch, which is right here, 23 and 24. And then you're going to slip stitch right into that chain 1 you did when you joined your yarn. It is black yarn, so it can be hard to see, but it's alright. You got it. And that's what our Pokeball is looking like so far. I like to have a tight center, so throughout I will be pulling on that tail to make sure that there is no like hole in the center. Sorry if I'm going a little out of frame. I have the camera in front of me trying to crochet and watch out for that at the same time. So we're not going to change our color yet. We're going to actually start dividing for the Pokeball. So half of it's going to be red and half of it is going to be white. So now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in that same stitch that we slip stitched into, so if you can see it on my work here, oh, the camera is so out of focus, right there, I don't know if you guys can see it, we're going to put 1 double crochet. And for this part, I like to do something different. This is when we're going to bring in our red. Instead of tying off, I like to leave the 2 loops on the hook, and I'll drop my black color. Then I pick up my red, and then I put it on my hook like this. I didn't tie it onto my hook. I didn't create a slip knot. I just laid it on my hook like this. And then I finish off with the red instead of the black. And now we are going to be doing some more increases. So we're going to be doing a pattern of 2 in 1 stitch, then 1. And our 2 black double crochets, because your chain 3 does count as a double crochet, starts that pattern. We're going to put 1 in the next stitch. We're going to put 1 red double crochet, work over that tail, you guys. And that's the second part to our pattern. So we have 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, and in the next stitch we have 1. And for the red color, we're going to have 16 double crochets. Going along with the pattern, we're going to do in the next stitch 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2. In the next stitch, we're going to put 1. In the next stitch, we put 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. In the next stitch we put 1, and I am working over tails. In our next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochet, so 1 and 2. In the next stitch we put 1, and that's our pattern until we get to 16. So continue that all the way along until you have 16 red double crochets. Okay, so I'm about to do my last double crochet, and you'll know you'll have the pattern right is if you end on one double crochet in your last stitch. So this is 16. And like we did before, we're going to be switching back to black because we're going to mirror this side on this side before we change to white. So I didn't cut my black from the previous row, so I'm just going to cut it now. And then I'm not going to finish off with the red. Instead, for a more seamless look, I'm going to finish off with the black. And this is how I do it. You could cut and tie if you want to, but this just makes it look a little bit more seamless. Just put your black on your hook and finish off that double crochet with the black, and keeping up with the 2 in one stitch in the 1 in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets in our next stitch in black, and I work over both the red and the black tails. So here's 1, 1, and in that same stitch we're going to put another black, and 2. And don't finish off, because now we have to change to our last and final color to complete our Pokéball. So go ahead and cut your red and your black yarn, and before you finish off with that, don't finish off with the black, grab your white and attach it the same way that we've been doing, or however you decide to attach it. That was out of frame, sorry. So finish off that double crochet with your white yarn and continue your pattern. So we just did 2 in one stitch, and our next stitch we know it's going to be 1. So that's 1 double crochet in the next stitch with our white color. So here's 1, and that just secures our color together. And just like with the red, since we're going to have an even amount, so we're going to have 16 red and 16 white. So in our next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochet in the same stitch, 1, 2. In our next stitch we're going to put 1, and then the next stitch we put 2, and it's the same pattern all the way until you run out of stitches. Okay, so like with our red, you will know if you're doing it right is when you get to 16 and you only have one double crochet to put in your last stitch. So just put that last double crochet in there, and then slip stitch your white, so the top of that chain 3, slip stitch. I haven't figured out a seamless way of doing this. It kind of looks bad because of the white is so abrupt with the black, but you know, not everything is perfect. And then cut off your yarn, and this is what the center of your Pokéball is going to look like, of your Pokéball granny square. I hope I've explained everything well, and stay tuned for part 2 when we actually turn it into a granny square.